The alien empire of Krython was celebrating. High towers of metal and light filled the capital world. War banners floated in the air. Alien leaders gathered inside a great hall made of black stone and glowing lines. They believed the galaxy finally feared them. They had won many wars, they had crushed smaller races, and now they held a royal prize. Deep beneath the capital city, inside a silent prison, the extraterrestrial princess sat alone. She did not cry. She did not beg. She waited. Above her prison, the alien leaders laughed and talked. They believed no one could challenge them now. Humans were weak. Humans were loud. Humans always fought among themselves. That was what the aliens believed. Then the warning arrived. Without alarms, without weapons fire, without fear, a human signal entered the alien network as if the doors were already open. The great hall fell silent as a screen lit up in the air. A single human figure appeared. No armor, no weapons, just a calm face and steady eyes. The human did not bow. The human did not shout. He spoke in a clear, quiet voice. "Free the extraterrestrial princess." The alien leaders stared in shock. Some laughed. Some hissed in anger. Some felt a strange, cold feeling, but ignored it. One alien commander stepped forward. His voice was sharp and proud. "You dare speak to us like this, human? You are small. Your worlds are divided. You have no power here." The human did not react. "We are not here to threaten," the human said. "We are here to warn." The word warn echoed through the hall. Another alien leader leaned forward, eyes glowing. "You expect us to release our prisoner because you ask." "No," the human replied, "because we told you." The room filled with laughter. Aliens mocked the human race. They spoke of past human defeats. They spoke of human weakness. They spoke of how easily humans could be erased if they tried anything foolish. The human listened, quiet still. Then he spoke again. "The princess does not belong in chains. Free her, return her safely. This is your only chance." The alien commander slammed his claw onto the floor. "And if we refuse?" The human paused. For the first time, something changed in his eyes. "Then the cost will be yours." The aliens laughed louder than before. They believed fear was weakness. They believed mercy was surrender. They believed humans were bluffing. One alien shouted, "You threaten an empire." The human shook his head slowly. "No," he said, "we are ending a mistake." The transmission began to fade. Before it ended, the human delivered his final words. "You were warned." The screen went dark. Silence filled the great hall. Then the aliens laughed again. They called the message an insult, a joke, a desperate cry from a dying species. The leaders ordered the human signal blocked. They ordered stronger guards for the princess. They ordered celebrations to continue. Far below, inside the prison cell, the princess felt the change. She stood slowly and looked up at the ceiling. "They came," she whispered. A guard heard her and laughed. "Who?" the guard asked. "The only ones who keep their promises," she replied. The guard ignored her words. Across the galaxy, human space grew quiet. No fleets moved. No messages were sent. No threats followed. To the alien empire, it looked like fear. To humanity, it was preparation. Hidden stations activated. Silent ships powered up. Old weapons woke from long sleep. Humans did not rush. Humans did not boast. They waited. Back on the alien capital, celebrations continued. Music filled the streets. Lights burned bright across the sky. The leaders believed the danger had passed. They did not notice the stars slowly going dark at the edge of their space. They did not notice the silence growing heavier. They did not listen. And that was their first mistake. The extraterrestrial princess had many names across the galaxy. To her people, she was called the Light Keeper. To old races, she was known as the Balanced Child. To the Krython Empire, she was just a trophy. That was their second mistake. The prison was deep under the capital city, far below metal streets and glowing towers. The walls were thick. The lights were dim. The air was cold and still. The princess sat on a simple stone bed, her hands free but her fate locked. She was not weak. She was dangerous in ways the Chthon could not understand. A group of alien scientists watched her from behind a clear energy wall. Machines hummed softly. Symbols moved across floating screens. "She shows no fear," one scientist said. "She should," another replied. "No one escapes this place." The princess looked at them calmly. "You do not know what you have taken," she said. The aliens laughed. They had heard this before. Prisoners always spoke of power, always spoke of destiny, always lied to survive. But the Chthon Empire did not rule the stars by believing prisoners. High above in the council chamber, the alien leaders argued. Some were still angry about the human warning. "It was nothing," one leader said. "Humans bark loudly, they never bite." Another leader disagreed. "They entered our systems without effort, that should concern us." A third leader waved the thought away. "We hold the princess, that alone proves our strength." They believed the princess was important only because she was royal. They believed her value was political. They were wrong. Long ago, before the Chthon Empire existed, the princess's kind helped stop wars before they began. They were watchers, judges. They kept balance between rising powers. And humans had listened to them. That history was hidden, forgotten, ignored. The Chthon had captured the princess during a border conflict. They saw her ship weak and alone. They attacked without asking questions. When they realized who she was, it was already too late. Now she was a message. A warning to the galaxy. "Look what we can take," the Chthon said with pride. In the prison, a guard approached her cell. He was young and curious. "Why do humans care about you?" he asked. The princess stood slowly and walked closer to the barrier. "Because they remember," she said. "Remember what?" "That power is not loud," she replied, "and mercy is not weakness." The guard felt uncomfortable. He stepped back. Elsewhere, far beyond Chthon space, a human observation ship drifted in darkness. No lights, no signals, no movement. Inside, human officers watched silent screens. Data flowed quietly. "The princess is alive," one officer said. "Yes," another replied, "and still imprisoned." A third human spoke, voice cold and calm. "Then phase 1 is complete." No cheers followed, no smiles. Humans did not celebrate before the end. Back on the alien capital, the Chthon leaders made another choice. They decided to move the princess to a deeper prison, a place even older than their empire, a place built to hold gods, not rulers. They believed this would protect them. As the transport moved through underground tunnels, the princess closed her eyes. She felt it. The shift. Something had changed in the galaxy. Not loud, not fast, but final. One of the guards noticed her calm expression. "You are not afraid," he said. "I am not worried about myself," she answered. "Then what worries you?" She opened her eyes and looked straight at him. "You did not listen," she said. The transport shook slightly. Just for a moment. The alarms did not sound, the lights did not fail. But far away at the edge of Chthon space, a military outpost went silent. No explosion. No warning. No message. It simply stopped existing. Back in the transport, the princess smiled for the first time. "Now," she whispered, "they have begun." And the Chthon Empire still believed they were in control. After the human warning, nothing happened. That silence confused the Chthon Empire. No human ships crossed their borders. No attacks followed. No messages came. Days passed, then more days. The alien leaders relaxed. Inside the Grand Council Hall, laughter returned. Music played again. The warning became a joke, repeated during feasts and meetings. "Where is the human anger?" one leader mocked. "Where is their revenge?" another laughed. They decided the human message had been empty words. Fear, they believed, had forced humans to stay quiet. That was the third mistake. Deep underground, the transport carrying the extraterrestrial princess reached the ancient prison. The place was old, older than the Chthon Empire itself. Massive stone walls surrounded it. Strange symbols covered every surface. This prison was built to hold beings of great power. The princess stepped inside calmly. The guards watched her closely. Some felt uneasy, though they did not know why. One guard whispered to another, "Why does she look relieved?" "She knows she cannot escape," the other replied. But the princess was not thinking about escape. She was listening. Across the galaxy, human space was silent. Human fleets did not gather in open view. Human leaders did not give speeches. Human media did not speak of war. Instead, ships moved in darkness. Commands were whispered, not spoken. Old plans were opened and read again. Humans were not angry. They were focused. At the edge of Chthon space, border patrols reported strange readings. Small things, easy to ignore. A star dimmed slightly. A relay station lost signal for a few seconds. Navigation data showed errors that corrected themselves. Technicians blamed equipment faults. Commanders blamed stress. No one connected the signs. Inside the ancient prison, the princess was placed in a tall chamber. A single light hovered above her. The door sealed with a deep, heavy sound. A Chthon officer stood outside the cell and spoke into a recorder. "Prisoner secure, humans remain inactive." He paused, then added, "They are afraid." Inside the cell, the princess spoke softly, though no one asked her anything. "They are not afraid," she said. "They are precise." No one answered. Back in the council hall, a younger alien leader raised a concern. "We should consider releasing her," he said. "Humans entered our systems without effort. That should not be possible." The older leaders dismissed him. "If humans were strong," one said, "they would have attacked already." Another added, "Silence is surrender." They voted to keep the princess imprisoned. The vote passed easily. That same hour, a small Chthon military outpost near the edge of space lost contact. No alarm. No distress call. Just silence. Command assumed a system error. Hours later, a second outpost vanished. Again, no explosion. No debris. Nothing. Sensors showed empty space where a station once existed. Panic began to spread, but slowly, quietly. The Chthon did not understand what kind of enemy removes things without noise. In the ancient prison, the princess felt the change clearly now. She sat on the stone floor and placed her hand against the wall. "They have started," she whispered. A guard heard her voice through the intercom. "Started what?" he asked, annoyed. She looked up at the ceiling. "Correction," she said. "Humans do not destroy first, they correct." The guard felt a chill and shut off the channel. Across human space, a message finally moved through secure lines. Short, simple. Phase 2 confirmed. No one celebrated. No one smiled. They simply continued. In Chthon space, stars began to disappear from maps. Not explode. Not collapse. Disappear. Supply lines broke. Communication failed. Fleets could not find their way home. The Empire felt something it had never known before. Confusion. Still, the alien leaders told their people everything was under control. Still, they refused to listen. And far away, in a dark human command room, a single screen showed the ancient prison. The princess was still inside. A human voice spoke quietly. "They did not listen." Another replied, "Then we proceed." The silence grew heavier across the galaxy. And it was only just beginning. The first real consequence did not come with fire. It came with absence. At the outer edge of the Chthon Empire, a military world named Varro's Station was removed from every star map. One moment it existed, the next it did not. No explosion was seen. No warning was sent. No debris was found. Just empty space. At first, Chthon Command believed it was a sensor error. They ran scans again and again. Long-range probes found nothing, not even radiation. Varro's station was gone. Inside the capital, officers argued in sharp voices. A failure in the network, one said. A natural event, another claimed. No system disappears without reason, a third whispered. But no one said the word humans. Not yet. In the ancient prison, the extraterrestrial princess felt the moment Varro's vanished. She stopped walking and closed her eyes. That was fast, she said softly. A guard outside her chamber frowned. What was fast? The answer, she replied. The guard said nothing more. On the Krython capital, panic began to spread beneath the surface. Trade routes failed. Military fleets could not reach their destinations. Navigation systems showed stars where nothing existed and emptiness where stars should be. Still, the alien leaders refused to accept the truth. Inside the Grand Council Hall, one commander finally spoke what others feared. This is not random, he said. This is control. Another leader slammed his claw on the floor. Impossible. No race can do this without being seen. Unless they choose not to be seen, the commander replied. Silence followed. Then a signal arrived. Not an attack. Not a threat. A message. It appeared on every screen in the council hall at the same time. No alarms, no resistance. Simple human text. One military outpost has been removed. The leaders stared. Another line appeared. This was a reminder. No image. No voice. No symbol of power. Just words. The message ended. Fear moved through the room like a living thing. One leader whispered, "They said they warned us." Another shouted, "This changes nothing, we still hold the princess." The words sounded weak, even to themselves. Deep underground, the princess smiled slightly. They showed restraint, she said. A guard shaken asked, "Restraint? They erased a world." She looked at him calmly. "They erased a weapon," she corrected. "If they wanted fear, you would already be gone." Far away in human-controlled space, no one celebrated the success. Human commanders watched the results in silence. Varro's station was marked as resolved. No loss of civilian life, no collateral damage. Only military targets. Signal sent, one officer asked. Yes, another replied, clear and complete. A third human looked at the screen showing the princess's prison. They still have her. The room grew quiet. Then the lesson continues, the commander said. Back in Krython space, leaders rushed to strengthen defenses. Fleets were recalled, weapons powered up, borders closed. But none of it helped. Another outpost vanished. Then another. Always the same. No warning. No sound. No trace. The Empire's confidence broke. Citizens began to ask questions. Soldiers doubted orders. Allies stopped responding. The Krython had ruled through fear for centuries. Now fear ruled them. Inside the ancient prison, the princess was visited by a high-ranking officer. His voice trembled despite his rank. "What do humans want?" he asked. She looked at him with clear eyes. "They want you to listen," she said. "They always give a choice." "And if we refuse?" She did not answer right away. Instead, she said, "How many reminders do you think remain?" The officer left without another word. In the council hall, the leaders argued through the night. Some demanded war, some demanded peace, some demanded silence. But the galaxy was no longer listening to them. One final human message arrived. Shorter than the last. Release the princess. Nothing more. No threats. No countdown. The Krython Empire stood at a line it could not see clearly. And once again, they delayed. They still believed power meant control. They still believed humans would stop. They were wrong. The first consequence had been shown. The next would be impossible to ignore. Fear had always obeyed the Krython Empire. For centuries, other races trembled at the sound of Krython war fleets. Entire systems surrendered without a fight. Fear was a tool, sharp and reliable. Now fear had turned around. On the capital world, the sky still glowed with towers and traffic, but something had changed. Conversations were quieter. Crowds moved faster. Soldiers checked their scanners too often. Nothing was attacking. That was the problem. In the council hall, the alien leaders looked tired. Their eyes showed stress and doubt. 3 military outposts were gone. Not damaged, not destroyed. Gone. Supply lines were failing. Fleets were lost in empty space. Commands reached no one. One leader spoke in a low voice. "We should release the princess." The room froze. Another leader answered sharply, "And admit weakness." "This is not weakness," the first replied. "This is survival." Before a vote could begin, a new report arrived. Another system had gone silent. No civilians harmed. No cities touched. Only military targets removed. Precision. That word haunted them. Deep underground in the ancient prison, the extraterrestrial princess felt the shift clearly now. The galaxy was changing direction. A guard entered her chamber, his movements nervous. "They are afraid," he said. She nodded. "Fear is useful," she replied, "if you learn from it." The guard swallowed. "Will humans stop if you are freed?" She looked at him carefully. "They already told you the answer," she said. "You chose not to listen." Across human-controlled space, fleets were moving, but not toward the Krython capital. They surrounded it. Silent, dark, unseen until it was too late. Human ships appeared at the edges of the capital system like shadows becoming real. No weapons fired, no messages sent. Just presence. Krython sensors screamed. The capital went into lockdown. Civilians panicked. Military commanders shouted orders that no longer mattered. For the first time in its history, the Krython Empire felt small. Inside the council hall, alarms echoed as a final human transmission arrived. This time there was a voice. Calm, clear. "You were warned, you were reminded, now you decide." The screen showed the capital system, surrounded. No threats followed. The message ended. One leader collapsed into his seat. "They could destroy us," he whispered. Another answered, "But they haven't." The room understood what that meant. In the ancient prison, the princess felt the human fleets arrive. She closed her eyes briefly. "They came in silence," she said, "as they always do." A senior Krython officer rushed in, breathing hard. "We are preparing your release," he said. "Stand down the humans." She met his eyes. "That is not how it works," she said gently. "They do not act on orders from prisoners." "Then what do we do?" he asked. She stood. "You free me," she said, "publicly, fully, and you accept what follows." The officer hesitated, then nodded. In orbit, human ships remained still. They did not move closer. They did not pull away. They waited. On the capital world, crowds gathered as the announcement spread. The princess would be released. Some cheered. Some feared revenge. Some prayed. The prison doors opened. The princess stepped into the light. For the first time since her capture, she was truly free. At that moment, every human ship powered down its weapons. Krython sensors confirmed it. Relief swept the capital like a wave. But it was mixed with something new. Understanding. Fear had changed shape. It was no longer fear of destruction. It was fear of consequence. And across the galaxy, everyone was watching. The Krython Empire had made its choice. Now they would learn what it meant. The humans were still waiting. And the story was not finished yet. The Krython Empire announced the release of the extraterrestrial princess with shaking voices and forced pride. They told the galaxy it was an act of mercy. They said it was planned. They claimed control. No one believed them. Across the capital world, screens showed the princess walking free under heavy guard. Her posture was calm. Her face showed no anger, but her eyes carried truth. The humans saw it, and they did not move. That silence frightened the Krython more than any attack. In the council hall, leaders waited for the human fleets to withdraw. They watched sensors. They listened for signals. Nothing happened. One leader whispered, "Why do they not leave?" Another replied, "Because this is not finished." The princess was brought to a high platform in the open city, visible to millions. A senior Krython official spoke loudly, trying to sound confident. "The prisoner is released. The matter is resolved." The princess stepped forward. "It was never a matter," she said clearly. "It was a choice." Her words spread across the planet. Deep in orbit, human ships remained silent. They did not target the planet. They did not lock weapons. But they did adjust position. Closer. In a dark human command room, a commander spoke. "They delayed." Another human answered. "They listened only when fear arrived." The first nodded. "Proceed." Back on the capital, Krython defenses powered up again in panic. Some leaders feared a trick. Others feared revenge. The princess felt the shift and turned to her escort. "They are still afraid," she said. "Fear makes people slow." At that moment, a human transmission reached every channel in the system. No images, no threats, just a single sentence. Release was required, timing mattered. The message ended. Suddenly, Krython military systems began to shut down. Not explode, not fail, shut down. Weapons went dark, shields faded, fleets froze in place. Control was gone. The princess closed her eyes. "They chose too late," she whispered. In the council hall, chaos erupted. Leaders shouted. Officers demanded answers. None came. Outside the capital system, human fleets moved for the first time. They did not fire. They passed through. Human ships flew past the frozen Krython defenses and disabled key command structures with silent precision. Power grids failed. Communication hubs went dark. No cities were touched. No civilians harmed. Only control was removed. Across the galaxy, other races watched in shock. This was not conquest. This was correction. On the capital platform, the princess felt the weight lift. The empire that captured her was no longer in control of itself. A Krython leader approached her, voice broken. "Stop them," he begged. She looked at him with calm sadness. "They already stopped," she said. "They are finishing." In human command, reports came in. Phase completion in progress. Empire control neutralized. Princess secure. The commander looked at the final screen. Withdraw fleets. At once, human ships powered down weapons and pulled back. They did not claim territory. They did not demand surrender. They left. The sudden absence felt unreal. On the capital world, silence fell. The Krython Empire still existed, but it no longer ruled. The princess was escorted to a human vessel waiting at the edge of the system. As she boarded, she looked back once. "This is what listening looks like," she said softly. The human ship turned away. Across the galaxy, a message spread quietly from world to world. Humans had kept their word. Not with rage. Not with pride. With precision. The Krython Empire had made its choice. And the galaxy learned something important. Human warnings are not threats. They are promises. The war ended without a battle. That truth confused many across the galaxy. There were no burning worlds. No final explosions. No victory songs. Only silence. The Krython Empire still stood, but it was hollow. Its fleets were powerless, its borders meaningless, its authority broken. Systems once ruled by fear now acted on their own. For the first time in centuries, the Krython were not feared. They were ignored. On a quiet human vessel far from the former capital system, the extraterrestrial princess stood by a wide viewing window. Stars moved slowly past as the ship traveled through calm space. A human officer stood at a respectful distance. "You are safe now," he said. She nodded. "I was safe the moment you chose restraint." The officer did not reply. Humans rarely answered praise. Across the galaxy, stories spread. Not loud stories, careful ones. They spoke of an empire that did not listen. They spoke of humans who warned once, They spoke of consequences that did not shout. Other races listened. On former Krython worlds, soldiers laid down weapons. Commanders stepped aside. Trade resumed without threats. Old enemies spoke for the first time without fear. Power had changed hands without being taken. The princess watched these changes from human space. She was offered comfort, protection, even leadership among her people. She refused all crowns. "I am done with symbols," she said. "I choose meaning." Humans did not argue. On Earth, human leaders met in quiet rooms. No banners were raised. No speeches were made. The operation was recorded, archived, and closed. One commander spoke softly, "We kept our word." Another replied, "That is enough." The princess asked one final question before leaving the human ship. "Why did you help me?" she asked. The human answered simply, "Because you asked us to remember who we are." She smiled. As she departed to rejoin her people, the galaxy felt the shift settle into place. No empire rushed to replace the Krython. No humans claimed dominance. Balance returned. And balance, once restored, did not need to be announced. Far away, on a quiet Krython world, a young alien watched the stars and spoke words that would one day become history. They should have listened. The sentence spread. It was repeated in schools, in trade halls, in military academies. Not as fear, as wisdom. The human fleets returned to their borders, their weapons slept, their silence returned. But the memory remained. A single warning. A calm voice. A promise kept. The galaxy learned that day that humanity was not loud because it was weak. It was quiet because it was certain. And certainty, once proven, never needs to speak again. The story ended not with destruction, but with understanding. End.